morning, welcome back to BT. Few things say Happy New Year like a bottle of bubbly. So we've got Gary Dowaduck joining us as we talk a little bit about champagne. Gary, we're going to start with exactly what a champagne is versus a sparkling wine.
Yes, well, sparkling wine is a carbonated beverage, just like colas and 7-Ups and everything we drink.
Okay.
But sparkling wine is, of course, wine. Now, there's a saying, champagne is sparkling wine, but not all sparkling wine is champagne. And that really underscores the uniqueness of champagne, because champagne comes from a very specific region in France, from grapes that are cultivated specifically to produce top quality product, and is made in a process that the people from Champagne, or the Champenois as they call them, have refined over hundreds of years to make the perfect bubbly wine.
Okay, so it's the creme de la creme, if you will, the Dom Perignon of champagnes.
Yes, and there's Dom Perignon right now.
It is.
And we're saying this is like $2.50 a bottle, roughly?
$2.50 before taxes.
Before taxes. Wow, that's
Add
for
your taxes
a special
and then a little
night.
bit more.
Okay, so that just
Yes,
that just made
exactly.
me decide how I was picking my sparkling wine or my champagne. Then I want to make sure that I'm chilling it properly.
Yeah, that's right. So if you want a proper champagne, first of all, it'll always be on the label, and there's a couple of other bottles that are non-champagne that we'll talk about in a moment.
Okay.
But yes, always chill. This was chilled in the fridge overnight, and then you should keep it always chilled in ice when you're going to serve it. It's really great to have a proper chill bucket, and you don't want to cover it completely, otherwise it'll get too cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to opening it, party
Comes to opening
time,
it.
it's nice and cold, we've made our choice.
Exactly right. So, I mean, the thing is that champagne is, of course, under pressure in the bottle. The reason why, when you take off this foil wrap here, that there's a cage on here, is because this is under pressure, and what'll happen if you're not careful is you'll take somebody's eye out. Don't want to do that, especially on New Year's Eve. So, when you're opening, you should take the cage off and make sure you keep the top of the bottle covered with your fingers. And it's very rare that this will lose control and pop off, but you're doing this as a precaution.
I'm nervous.
More than anything else. And so you take off that cage and the cap. You should always have a towel nearby. And the key to everything when you're opening a bottle of champagne is when you hold the cork very firmly, and you turn the bottle and not the cork.
Turn the bottle, not the cork. Okay.
And you shouldn't get a very loud noise, but a very small one like that. Like so.
So not at all what we've seen in the movies.
Not in what you've seen in the movies or the Formula One races. Absolutely not. Now, when you're pouring your champagne, you should get a beautiful long string of bubbles like that.
Yeah.
You can pour it a couple of times. Once it goes down a little bit, you top it up, and you're ready for midnight on New Year's Eve.
Because it's all about that effervescence.
In this case, the bubbles are actually good. It's not making it flat or taking out any
Absolutely,
of
the bubbles are exactly what you want. And what distinguishes champagne from other types of sparkling wine is the fact that those bubbles have a great texture on the palate. And other sort of sparkling wines are available from France, as you see over here, but they're not from the Champagne region as such, and that makes them less expensive. They can use a similar technique in order to trap the bubbles, but in fact they are not as convincing, I guess, to the general public who want a proper champagne.
So I guess the question is, can I avoid the $2.60 for the Dom and still get a good glass of...
Absolutely. So Dom is, of course, vintage champagne. It's one of the most famous in the world, around $250. This is a little bit sweeter. It's Veuve Clicquot demi-sec, which means semi-sweet. Paul Roger is a Brut, which is the one that I've opened here. These items here come from Alsace and the Loire Valley on either side of the Champagne region, and they're a fraction of the cost. They're very good quality products, but they're not champagne. And what draws people to champagne and makes them spend the money that you can expect to spend on the champagne is that it's so good.
If you're having one drink, go with the Dom. If it's the last of many drinks, stick to the other
I have one
stuff.
quick question before we go. Gary, if we want to shake it up and we want it to spray everywhere, do we shake it before we open it or after? What's better?
Well, I wouldn't recommend it, but you would do it before.
Before, okay, there you go.
And in someone else's home.
Right,
And
Never
someone
your
else's
place.
home.
of course.
All right, so coming up, Gary's going to hang around. We've got some retro cocktails, which are very hot right now. We'll look at some old stuff that's new again, things like the old fashioned coming up from BT. I would say cheers, but I'm the only one with... Just grab it.